Thank you for staying. Thank you to Economist Impact, to Joan and colleagues, and to the Greece Ministry for Finance, Maria Elena and colleagues, for the invitation to attend what is a most interesting event. We had dinner last night and we discussed the idea of sharing experiences so we may all learn from each other. So apologies for not being forward-looking like most other speakers. Let me tell you the story so far of Ireland's National Asset Management Agency. So by way of introduction, I was appointed chairman of the National Asset Management Agency in December 2019 by the Irish Minister for Finance. The Irish National Asset Management Agency, known as NAMA, was established in 2009 by the Irish Government as one of a number of policy responses to the banking and financial crisis which emerged in 2008 and 2009. One of the problems facing Irish banks at this time was that they could not obtain necessary liquidity due to the large proportion of property-backed, non-performing loans on their balance sheets. As usually happens when there's a severe market failure, responsibility for finding solutions falls back to the state. The Irish state had limited existing experience in banking or property and had to develop from scratch and urgently a solution that would deal effectively with the crisis. NAMA's role was to free up the balance sheets of the banks by acquiring problem loans and managing them directly. There were some international precedents for an agency such as NAMA, but none that had to deal with a crisis of this scale relative to the size of the national economy. NAMA was therefore mandated by the Irish legislature to deal expeditiously with an acquired loan portfolio which had a face value of €74.4 billion, but which was considered to be worth €26.2 billion. In total, NAMA paid the participating institutions €31.8 billion for the portfolio, including an overpayment of €5.6 billion, which was authorised by the EU Commission under state aid rules. As consideration for the loans, NAMA issued €30.2 billion in senior bonds and €1.6 billion in subordinated bonds. The senior bonds were guaranteed by the Irish Government and thus created a significant contingent liability for the state. To give an indication of the scale of the challenge, NAMA acquired over 12,000 loans which were secured by over 60,000 properties located predominantly in Ireland, the UK and Europe, but with exposure globally. The borrowers comprised both private individuals and companies which had amassed significant levels of debt from Irish banks. An absolute imperative from the beginning was to recover the €30 billion in senior debt that was issued to pay for the acquired loans. Otherwise, that liability would have fallen on taxpayers. An important aspect of this was to stimulate activity in the Irish market in order to facilitate its recovery and to encourage investors to buy Irish assets. NAMA was very successful in this regard, strategically creating loan and asset portfolios for sale which attracted international investors. This activity generated significant cash for NAMA, over €47 billion to date, and was critical in sustaining recovery in the Irish property market. Importantly, NAMA was given a commercial focus. At the outset, its main commercial objective was to recover as much cash as possible for the taxpayer from the acquired loan portfolio. At the same time, NAMA also pursued a number of other ancillary objectives, including funding development for housing and commercial property. These ancillary objectives have made some positive social and economic contributions to the Irish state. In an ideal world, an asset management agency might wish to take a more conservative approach to loan and asset disposal than was adopted by NAMA in those early years, but the reality was that NAMA had to operate in conditions that were far from ideal. The scale of Ireland's unwanted exposure to property risk meant that our activity had implications for Ireland as a borrower on the international debt markets, for the Irish economy and for the Irish property market. We did not and could not have operated in a vacuum. NAMA's successful deleveraging activity ensured NAMA consistently generated an annual profit, which in turn enabled the acceleration of senior debt repayments, with the final redemption made in October 2017. This achievement had other collateral benefits, playing a part in convincing international investors that Ireland was on an accelerated and sustained path to recovery. By June 2020, NAMA had also fully repaid its subordinated debt and its private investors. This allowed us to start transferring payments from our surplus to the Irish Exchequer, and to date, NAMA has transferred €3.25 billion in cash to the Irish state, and the final total expected to be paid by 2025 is close to €5 billion. Currently, NAMA's portfolio is under €1 billion. Many of the residual assets demonstrate the challenges that can exist with deleveraging a complex asset portfolio containing compromised assets, with many assets linked to litigation. To conclude, the NAMA initiative was an innovative and courageous response to one aspect of the crisis, namely the pressing need to deal with the profusion of non-performing commercial property loans on bank balance sheets. It was not, nor was it ever intended to be, a solution for other troubled segments on their balance sheets, including residential mortgages and SME lending. In NAMA's experience, any measures designed to address the problems related to private NPLs should be systematic, proactive and targeted. An asset management company may be an appropriate measure in certain circumstances, such as commercial property, but it may form only one part of the overall resolution strategy. Thank you.